Ever wonder why so many investors are shifting to ETFs instead of picking individual stocks? With an ETF, you get instant diversification. Instead of relying on one company, you own dozens, sometimes hundreds. They're low cost, easy to trade, and often more tax efficient than mutual funds. I'm Dr. Z, a university professor and a long-term investor. I share what I know, what I have learned, and what I'm learning. I created this channel to help you make better financial decisions. Not all ETFs are the same. Some are broad, some are highly focused. And how do you know which one is right for you? Let's break that down. There are really 4 key areas you want to look at: exposure, performance, costs, and the liquidity. Think of it like a checklist. Now, you first want to know what exactly the ETF is giving you, what it is holding. Second, how has it performed compared with benchmarks? Third, what are the holding costs? And finally, how liquid is it? Means how easily can you buy and sell shares without paying extra in hidden costs? Take Vanguard's total stock market ETF, VTI, and compare it with iShares emerging market ETF, EEM. Now you see, both of them are ETFs, but they give you very different exposures. VTI covers the entire US stock market, while EEM focuses only on emerging markets like China, Brazil. Naturally the risks, costs, and the performance history are also very different. That is why using this 4-step framework is so powerful. It helps you cut through the noise and make decisions based on what really matters. And you know what? The first step, always starts with the most important question. What exactly is the ETF holding? Let's break that down. When you're looking at an ETF, the very first question is simple. What exactly are you buying? An ETF is just a basket of investments. It could be focused on a sector, a region, or an entire asset class. That's why you always want to know, what's under the hood and see what is holding. Because if you don't know what's inside, you don't really know what you're investing in. Now, let's just look at simple examples. Now, QQQ is a tech-heavy, is the biggest positions are companies like Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. This makes it growth-focused, but also very volatile, since it leans so much on technology. VOO, on the other hand, tracks the S&P 500. That means you're getting broad exposure to 500 of America's largest companies. It's more diversified across sectors, so you're not relying on just one industry. And then there is EFA, which gives you developed international exposure, right? Investing in companies from Europe and Japan. So if your goal is to diversify outside the US, this ETF helps you do that. The key takeaway here is that the right ETF should match your goals. If you want growth, maybe a tech-heavy ETF makes sense. If you want stability, something broad like a VOO might be better. If you want a global diversification, you may look at an international ETF. Now, a good practice is to look at the ETF's fact sheet, check the top holding, and see the sector breakdown, and make sure it lines up with what you're trying to achieve. Once you know what's inside the ETF, the next logical question is, how has it actually performed? Because knowing what it holds is one thing, but seeing the results is another. Let's consider performance. When you're evaluating an ETF, performance is usually the first thing people look at. But the key is not just the number, it is the context. Always compare the ETF's returns against its benchmark. For example, S&P 500 ETF, like SPY, Its benchmark is the S&P 500 index itself. You want to see if the ETF is doing a good job at closely tracking that index over time. Now, let's take another example, say QQQ, which follows the Nasdaq 100. Over the past decade, QQQ has outperformed SPY because it's as loaded with tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia. But here's the trade-off. QQQ also comes with more ups and downs. In other words, higher returns, but higher volatility. This is where you want to think about consistency and your own risk tolerance. Don't just chase the best performing ETF from last year. Look at the 1 year, 5 year, even 10-year records. Ask yourself, does this ETF match my investment goals, or am I just chasing the performance? Performance matters, but remember, even great returns can get eaten away by costs. And that's why in the next step, we will talk about holding costs. This is something a lot of investors overlook, but it's absolutely critical. Every ETF charges an expense ratio. Basically, a small percentage of your money that goes into managing the fund. And while these numbers might look tiny, they add up over time. Take Vanguard's SP 500 ETF, ticker symbol VOO. Its expense ratio is just 0.03%. That's about as close as to free as you can get. But if you look at some niche or thematic ETFs, maybe focused on clean energy, artificial intelligence, gold, you will see fees above 0.75%. That's 25 times higher. Here's why this matters. Over 20 years, a fee difference of even 0.5% can mean tens of thousands of dollars lost to costs instead of staying in your pocket, compounding for your retirement. So when you evaluate an ETF, always ask yourself, am I paying for exposure I really want? Or am I just paying high fees for a trendy sim? Keeping your cost low is one of the simplest, most powerful ways to build long-term wealth. Okay, so low fees are great, but costs aren't the only factor. Even the cheapest ETF won't help you if you can't buy and sell it easily. That brings us to step 4, liquidity in trading. When you're evaluating an ETF, liquidity is something a lot of people overlook, but it does make a big difference. Liquidity simply means how easy is it to buy and sell this ETF without paying extra hidden costs. Now, here are two things matters most here. One is traveling, volume, and bid-ask spread. If an ETF trades millions or even billions of dollars every single day, it's extremely liquid. Take SPY, for example. It's one of the most traded ETF in the world. You can buy and sell it almost instantly. And the spread between the buy price and the sell price is usually just a penny. That means very little friction when you trade. But now compare that to a small niche ETF, maybe something that focuses on a very specific sector, or a brand new fund. If it only trades a few thousand shares a day, you will often see wider spreads, and those spreads are a hidden cost because you're paying more to get in and getting less when you sell. So before you buy, always check the average daily trading volume. The more liquid the ETF, the more confidence you can have that you're getting a fair price. Now, we have gone through the exposure, performance, costs, and liquidity. Let's bring this all together and look at the bigger picture, your key takeaways when it comes to evaluating an ETF. So here is the bottom line, right? When you are looking at an ETF, keep it simple. Ask yourself 4 simple questions. What's inside? Does the fund exposure and holdings match what you want? How has it performed? Look for consistency, not just over a year, but over 10 years. What does it cost to hold? Expense ratios matter more than most people think. And finally, how easy is it to trade? Liquidity can save your money every time you buy and sell. ETFs are powerful tools, and the right ETF isn't the same for everyone. Maybe you're after growth, maybe you want steady income, maybe you want international exposure, or maybe you're interested in something thematic. The key is making sure the ETF lines up with your financial goals. If you found this helpful, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments which ETFs are you looking to. And if you want to take this further, check out my video on the 5 best ETFs for your Roth IRA. Now in that video, I go beyond theory and actually give you specific names, ticker symbols, and why they work so well for long-term wealth building. Thanks for watching. I wish you have a nice day. Let's together make better financial decisions.